Hello everyone, bring you a video today looking at this. Now this is an Israeli made Orlite helmet, pretty standard in that regard, but this particular example is Irish issue. And that's the primary focus of this video, is to talk about the Orlite helmet in Irish service. There are videos talking about this more generally on YouTube already. Mike B has made one, and Devin Kruger as well has made videos talking about this. This is the second model, the 7685 model of the Orlite helmet. The original was introduced in 1976 into Israeli service, and then in 1985 this updated version, updated chin strap and so forth, was introduced. Of course, we're going to have a look at the details of that in just a minute. And there was quite a significant export drive, and certainly for Israeli production, it was very successful in terms of exports. Ireland used it, South Africa used it, and it was trialled in Canada and other countries as well. But as I say, quite successful. And one reason I like looking at Irish kit is it's often a melding together of various different countries' productions of kit and equipment. We've seen the Carl Gustav ammunition pouch previously, and this is another example. A very early form of composite helmet for the mid-1970s, of course, introduced in the 80s. So it's still, this version introduced into the 80s and introduced into Irish service in the mid-1980s. So it's quite interesting from that point of view. It's a relatively early design of composite helmet, which was updated in the 80s and obviously was very successful on the export market at that point. In Irish service, they served from around 1985 right the way through until 2012, when it was completely replaced at that point, I believe. And it was used with various different forms of camouflage cover and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the video as well. As I say, the focus of this being on its use in Irish service. So looking at this in a bit more detail, I've repainted this back to something approaching its original olive drab colour. And when it came to me, if we have a look on the rubber here, you can perhaps see the sort of glossy forest green there, and that's the colour it was when I got hold of it. But I masked up the rubber edging here and given it a coat of this olive drab, which is how these were originally finished. It's more akin to the original paint finish these came in. On the outside, you can see details of the attachment points for the 3-point chin strap here, chin harness, and then obviously rivets which hold the liner in all the way around there, as well as you can see. Rubber rim all the way around. Has this shape here, which we'll come back to a little bit later on in the video and compare that to another helmet of this sort of time period. But this step down, obviously, which is akin to German practice, obviously, with the style helm, in having this slope down to protect the ears and give a little bit deeper protection to the back of the head. Come down a little bit to lower at the back of the neck there. And then looking inside, you can probably immediately see here that the liner system is based on the M1 helmet. You can see with the leather sweatband in there. It's actually come detached at one point there, so I'll have to get to repair that, sort the clip out there. It's become unclipped. But this is now made of rather than being made of cotton, it's made of nylon. And we get inside there, you can see the details there on the label, hopefully. Infantry helmet 85, size L, 1997, the batch number and the serial number underneath there. Hopefully you can see clearly enough in there. Try and get a bit more light on that. There we go. And this, I believe, is the fiberglass version thereof. They were made in ballistic nylon as well. I think this is the fiberglass version. You see another number stamped into the rim there. I'm not sure what that pertains to. So if anyone knows, anyone who's in the Irish Defence Forces who could advise on that, I'd be very, very much appreciative of the information. In addition to the liner there with the headband and everything, you also have rubber pads at the back here, quite soft rubber bumper pad at the back there, one for the forehead. And then if we look underneath the lining in there, get the light in, you can see there's one in the center here as well. So a bit of crash protection there as well. And we do have the side here as well underneath there. The chin strap itself, you can see we have a leather sort of chin cup. Obviously it's not actually a chin cup per se, it's a leather cover over the nylon straps there, forming something of an open chin cup. And a leather piece protecting the side of the face here, where the plastic clip comes in and connects. Very simple plastic clip there, push to release. And then obviously metal buckles here, which can be used to adjust the chin strap. You have a simpler design of metal buckle at the rear there with the strap leading to the rear, and then another one of these buckles on the front point there. So the two buckles here, and then there's another one on the strap leading to the rear suspension point there. So quite a simple design in terms of the head harness. It's a combination, I suppose you could say, of the M1 and the British helmet steel airborne troops, which Israeli forces were, or the Israeli military were familiar with, and that seems to have been the inspiration for the original 3-point suspension system, the 3-point chin strap. This, as I say, is the updated one that was introduced in 1985, and that's a slight improvement in terms of materials used. Obviously it's made of nylon, and in terms of comfort with this quite neat design of leather lined straps to form a chin cup there. Something specific to Irish use is the two different helmet covers we're going to look at here. Earlier on in the 1980s, it's common to see these helmets worn with a net, using a rubber band or tape to secure the net around the helmet, and they're also sometimes seen worn with hessian underneath the net as well. And you can see that here in some footage from the 1980s relating to the Troubles. It quite neatly shows the helmets camouflaged with the camouflage net. In the 1990s, a green cover was introduced, and you can see that here, very similar to that design for the British Mark VI helmet, using this web of elastic to allow you to attach foliage to the cover. Very similar to the British examples in that regard. Works in the same way. It has a draw cord that pulls this in around the rim of the helmet and then can be tied off. Works in essentially exactly the same way. And you can see here, this is helmet cover olive, and it's made of polycotton, as you can see, and then size medium, and the manufacturer there, Total Safety Limited, and little number stamped in there as well, which may well be a stock number. I'm not entirely sure on that, but as I say, introduced of course Ireland at the time, still using the plain green combat uniform at this time period. Then from 1999 to 2000 there was a transition from the green uniform to Irish DPM, nicknamed Paddyflage, and we have an example of the cover made in that camouflage here. The camouflage uniform was initially introduced to troops serving overseas and then troops on home service in Ireland as well, and you can see this is basically the same design of cover. This one unfortunately missing its draw cord, but it's the same design, just made in the new camouflage material, again polycotton, with the same web of elastic over the top there to allow foliage to be attached. So again, just made up to date in the new camouflage pattern, and obviously used with the Orlite through to the end of its service life around 2012. So there we are. We'll just finish off the video with a shot of me wearing this, just to show you what it looks like when it's worn. Very comfortable to wear, quite lightweight, quite an effective composite helmet, certainly for the time period it was issued. And obviously Ireland taking up the Israeli design there. As I said before, it's very interesting, obviously countries that sort of bring together various different bits of kit and equipment from different sources in their own for their own national defence forces or national army or whatever. So hopefully you found it interesting looking at this. I've certainly found it interesting talking about this. I've been interested to talk about it since it arrived with me. So it's nice to finally make a video looking at this. If you found this interesting and you'd like to see more from the channel, then please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And whether you're newly subscribing or you've previously subscribed, please do make sure you hit the little bell, little notification button down below. That will of course alert you when I upload future videos. If you really like my uploads and you would like to support the channel, you can, both Patreon and PayPal are linked down below. And as ever, a huge thank you to everybody who supports the channel using those two methods. It's greatly appreciated, as I always say. If you'd like to follow the channel on social media, you can. Facebook, Instagram and Twitter are all linked down below. And of course, if you'd like to get in touch but you don't use social media, there is of course an email address down there as well. That's everything for this video. So until next time, bye for now.